it's so fun talking to you for like a real
Oh,
reason now, like because I feel like we just randomly end up like finding each other doing
I
the things we
know.
do, and then we don't really have like a proper
Right, right,
like
right.
we don't really talk about things. We're just like, oh my god, this is so crazy, or like,
Right, right.
we just end up randomly finding each other. But all right,
Okay.
let's let's just get started. All right, this basic questions, just don't think too much about it.
Okay.
What's your name and how long have you been making music? Let's start out with that.
Oh, my name is Melissa Cherie. I've been making music since I was a senior in high school, since I was like 17 years old. A boy broke my heart.
Oh,
So I wrote my first song.
oh, that's awesome. A lot of I feel like a lot of personal experiences kind of guide the way people make their music, and like what say how did you fall into songwriting, and what do you think personally is the difference between being a professional musician versus being a songwriter professionally? Is there any real
Mm.
difference?
No, I like that question actually because it's very interesting because when I was like 6 years old, I started taking piano lessons. And I had always thought of myself as like quote unquote a musician.
Hmm.
Um and then when I got to college, I realized and I started writing songs. I just like something just clicked one day that I'm like, oh yeah, all this time learning music was leading up to like doing this, was leading
Yeah.
up to this point. And like I don't care about practicing scales. And like I care about this.
Yeah, a musician, and then you're also like the songwriter, and then
Mhm.
sometimes people are just like, oh, I just play what other people write out for me, or
Right,
they're
right,
like
right.
they're like guitarist full time, bassist
Mm.
full time. It's very different, but common for people to handle a little bit of everything.
Mm.
How much of the business side do you personally handle, like if at all?
Oh, so pretty much everything. I don't really have management or anything. It does help that I went to college for music business. And then I do work in marketing, so I kind of understand how all of these things work, just in terms of like the marketing and the branding. But it is kind of a lot to handle all by myself, like to do the actual creative part and then to do like the more businessy aspects, like it is kind of like two different parts of your brain. um so I do handle kind of all of that. It would be nice to have someone that did like a manager or something, but
Yeah.
yeah, because
So,
I'm a total like type B. So
oh yeah, absolutely.
so it's like if I get an email, I'm just like no urgency, to respond to it.
That's exactly me.
I know.
All right, next question. Do you have to take on the work of, say, like a merchandiser or booking agent? It kind of relates to the question I already asked, because, like, I know you don't
Mm,
have management, and those
yeah,
are
yeah, yeah.
also kind of separate positions in a way, Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I handle all the booking. And to be honest, like that's actually not so bad because I feel like I try to be selective with what shows I book because I feel like um like we have our preferences on like venues or maybe how a certain venue is run. Maybe we don't like it or maybe we don't like the people on the bill. So I'm totally cool handling all the booking for that reason.
Mhm.
And then in terms of merchandise, so the thing about merch is that like it is very expensive to produce, but right now I'm working on kind of like some kind of like more like creative like DIY alternatives to merch. So like for example, like I'm strategizing right now like how I can make some like cool like custom t-shirts that don't involve going to like a printing press or like something super expensive, like maybe something more handmade.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm experimenting with that. I'm also gonna be making keychains. I bought like this big set from Amazon, so yeah, it's fun.
That's gives to, like I guess not average merchandise, but that there's options. I think, and a lot of people sometimes when they're first starting out, they don't they don't notice that these details end up
Mm,
mattering, but they do. Like
right.
in the long run, I think it's better to have like but what would you like to tell anyone that wants to become a songwriter, and where should they begin in your own personal opinion?
That's a good question. Like a professional songwriter or just someone who wants to write songs?
Um, I think in more of the professional sense.
Very open. So I would say just as a general, uh, to write the songs that you want to hear in the world and to get really good at kind of listening to yourself. I feel like sometimes when we write a song, like we're kind of when you first start writing, sometimes it's very subjective. Like you're too how do I say this? Because it's your work, you're not like looking at it the same that you would look at someone else's work, if that makes sense.
Right.
So kind of like developing that discernment, um, and also just being creative and expressive and kind of resisting the urge to give a fuck about um, writing something that you think people are gonna want to hear. Like you should just write what satisfies you, I think.
Yeah.
And I would also recommend, I guess, like to read this book called The Artist Way. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's something that really helped me, and it's just really about just like being creative in a way that's kind of like unhindered.
World of like celebrity musicians or just like very prominent musicians, songwriters, they don't typically have like an audience unless they're the face of the music. I mean,
Mm.
recently that's kind of changed with figures like, I guess if you could take a look at Jack Antonoff, it's
Oh
like
yeah.
it songwriters themselves have become sort of the celebrity. Do you
Mm.
think that that is a positive change? Songwriters are making names for themselves specifically, and not really remaining anonymous figures in the like, I guess, the traditional way.
Oh yeah, I think that's definitely a great thing. Like I love that Jack Antonoff is like this he's like a brand, and he's like not really, I mean, I guess he has a side project, but I love that he's like known for his work behind the scenes too, because a lot of these people, especially people to the level of like Taylor Swift and like artists that he writes for, they're like these ginormous like powerhouse artists, and like usually behind each song there's like at least five songwriters, and it's just like, well, those people are great too. Like I feel like the best artists, like they reach their full potential with that help. Like I mean, even with my music, like my bandmates also contribute a lot, and like you have the producers also to thank for like how something sounds, and yeah.
Have you ever personally or professionally come up with material for a song that wasn't yours?
Yeah, so I mean, very, very infrequently. And it's usually just because if I write something and I really like it, I want to do it. Once, I was working on a tune. I have a friend who is a filmmaker,
Oh, that's lovely.
Caleb Washington. He
He's
lives.
great. He's
You know
great.
who? Yeah,
Yeah,
love him. And he's on the spectrum, and I just think it's amazing that he has his disability, and he's just really trying to make it happen. So he's filming a movie right now, and
that's amazing.
it's like an entire cast and crew on this shit. And um, I play a small role, and he asked me to write a song for the main character, and so I kind of co-wrote something.
It's about the people you meet.
Mm-hmm.
It's and there's so many people that when they start out in music, they don't realize like where they could end up. And it's like doing
Right.
things like making songs for like a friend's film, or like it's like it you don't realize that things like that could happen, and that could be experience that you carry with you for like the rest of your career, and
Oh
it's a
yeah.
great thing. It's a great thing to do.
It's really fun and exciting.
All right. In those moments where you were, or like in those experiences of making songs for other people, what was the process of designating who receives credit? Like, if there was any discussion at all, or like, basically, how do people get paid? How's that
Oh.
experience? Like,
Oh, I got you. So this would more so be, I think, like, because I no one's. I'm gonna be honest with you, Cassie and the Wildcats, like the movie, like no one's getting paid. But
Yeah,
this is complete like $0 budget film. But on my original stuff, I did give some of my bandmates credits, like if they wrote, like really prominent like parts for their instrument, and I think we just do it. It's like what is it in ASCAP? It's like the publisher and then the writer. So I think for the writing credits, we just kind of split them evenly.
ASCAP. It's funny that you mentioned ASCAP. Are you part of any unions at all, or basically are you like completely unsigned? You do it like DIY? Is what's the situation on royalties
So
for you?
low key, um I have my own LLC that I started like I don't know forever ago because I like learned it in like music school or whatever to make your own to like base if you wanted to self publish to like do it under your own LLC. So it's self published under my LLC is called Telltale Heart, which is the name of my first high school band. Spotify, it'll say like TTH Records.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh my goodness. That perfectly, it almost kind of answers the next question. It's like, what did the process of receiving profits for music you've created in the past or performed, what has that looked like? Is it different from like, and is it different from like today? Like when you were first starting, or just like even recently, did any of that change, or improve with time?
Well, okay, it's interesting because like yeah, kind of did change with time, but I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, as an artist who is just kind of like DIY playing the scene, my checks are very small. Artist who is just kind of like DIY playing the scene, my checks are very small.
Yeah.
I got a check for like $1.50 like a few weeks ago, but what I that's in terms of like streaming and royalties and stuff. But really, what I've learned and how this process has changed is that you don't have to do anything a specific way. Like I feel like everyone tells you, "Oh, follow the industry if you're a small artist." Like if you're a small artist, you don't need to follow the same formulas that Taylor Swift is following because she has budget and millions of fans. You know what I'm saying? Like she's participating in the music industry in like a much different way. And so I feel like I try to just like now like, I push Bandcamp. I push stuff that's like direct to artists because I benefit from it the most. Um, I don't care about when I release my music in terms of it has to be a Friday, it has to be this day or that and the third because that kind of stuff doesn't apply to me where I am in my career. And I also don't really think too hard about like, oh, should this be a single, should it be an album? I go just purely with the art and I've been taking some time to really I really want to hit my stride with songwriting, so I've been taking some time to really kind of push all the other noise about that stuff away, and just kind of do things how I want to do it. Something I learned was I performed in a festival this summer, and it was a local festival, but it was so amazing, and I performed to I think about like 200 people. It was one of the biggest shows we've ever played, and it just like hit me in that moment that like you don't truly need you know you don't need like any of these like superficial things. You just need community. And like how you reach that community is kind of, there's many ways to do it. There's not just one way to do it.
Abilities that you have or think a lot of other people have that help you in songwriting that like people just don't think of at all?
So the first thing that I would come to mind, I think, would be, for me, I think songwriting is, it's primarily just intuition. Um, it's this kind of like, um, I don't know, it's like inner listening, I guess. Like, I feel like I write from a very intuitive place, and that's kind of like where I'm drawing from, like at all times. Um, and so usually, like when I'm doing it, it's all, I don't want to say it. I hate like mystifying the process because it is a skill that anyone can learn. It's not magic, but I think sometimes with that intuition, like you get into like a meditative headspace.
Yeah.
Like I wrote my most favorite song is called Northern Skies that I've written, and I wrote it because I was scraping paint off of a table.
The internet affects royalties and music payment, you know?
Yeah, well, you know what? Streaming just, the way that people listen to music just changed, but the way that people get compensated for it, like, I feel like it didn't really equal out. And streaming, like, the artists make like no money, and that's like now the preferred way that people listen to stuff for out of convenience. And like we all had like Spotify or Apple Music or streaming, but I mean, I personally try to be mindful of like if I really like an artist to not just stream them and to actually buy their music. But I feel like I'm seeing some momentum online about, like many people are switching from Spotify to Tidal
Yeah.
that has the highest uh payment rate right now. Um I also think I saw that like Haley Williams. This is kind of like a different industry, but Haley Williams is now paying her merch designers, I think, like 3 times what they have been gotten paid, because apparently someone can design like a T-shirt and get paid $500 for the design. Meanwhile, the artist is making like thousands, like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars off of this T-shirt design, and they only got $500.
We're saying,
Oh yes, about just like yeah, like the means of production and everything.
money. Money is the question. I was about to say it's become almost common knowledge that Spotify pays like 0.002 cents per stream. You know, that's literally only like $2 and like 86 cents basically per 1,000 stream.
Right.
That's a 70-30 split of revenue. Do you think that is a substantial amount for most songwriters online?
No.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like it's just it's trash. And the thing is, it's like you have to remember too, like the way that people get compensated is like it's the publisher, the music publisher, and it's the writer. And so it's like if you're an artist that's doing both, you know, you get well, to say you get more feels like it's not true because you're getting like nothing to begin with. But
Yeah.
if you don't publish your own music, you get even less. And nah, and like I feel like people have been on this for years.
Do you have any questions for me before we finish up? Like that's my question to you.
Not really. Is this for school?
Yeah, actually, I was I had to do this proposal for my class with Professor Cricken, and he was like,
I love him.
he's like, "Oh, are you interviewing Melissa? That was a very she's
God,
a great person. You should go through it." I was like, "Hell yeah, I will."
Oh, I love him so much. Put this on.
I will.
Yeah.
I will. Oh my god.
You know who introduced me to Mitski? It was Dr. Cricken, actually.
Oh my god. Yeah, so last question. What projects or like materials that you have out right now that or that you would like our audience to check out, or like do you have any events coming up that you would like to be promoted in our interview?
Um, so I have an album called The Hearth. So
Ooh.
check it out. It's on all the streaming services. Um, check that out. I'm also going to be dropping that medieval album, I think, in the spring.
Ooh, I love it.
If you ever happen across Joanna Newsom, just like it's just kind of like pure folk, or I don't. Okay, okay, it's similar to like Toy Soldiers vibes, right?
Oh, that's cool.
By Kate Bush. So if you like that vibe, you'll like the.
Thank
Thank you so much for asking
Of
me. I was so
course.
honored.
And
Oh my god.
thank you so much for, lending me your time, and I think that this was very enlightening, and also like I
Yeah.
will be carrying this advice for
Oh my
into
god.
my experiences, it's like in
Oh,
the work I will do, the work I need to do, and also like you're going to be my first call from now on whenever I need help with something, cuz I'm
oh,
like
yes, please.
you know what you're doing. So I'm like I know to ask you.
Oh, have someone to now I have someone to talk to and just not think about it.
That's really sweet. Oh my god. I had just as much fun. And you know what? It's like now I know like if I ever need anything, I'm going to you.
You can hit me up. Hell yeah.
Yeah, of course. Well, I think that's all for now. Have a great night. Feel better,
Yeah.
and I'll
You
talk
too.
to you soon. Goodbye.